Hi, everybody. It's Eric Murray from the SugarHuddle.com. Well, obviously, that Chargers-Chiefs game lived up to the billing on Thursday night. The Chargers, they were down 14 points on multiple occasions. They went down 14-0 early, then they trailed 28-14 late in the fourth quarter, and both times they were able to overcome the deficit, the second time of which led to a 29-28 victory. Pretty phenomenal because, obviously, as we know, Philip Rivers, for all the great things he's done in his career, obviously could be a future Hall of Fame quarterback. He hasn't really had as many clutch fourth quarter moments and as many fourth quarter comebacks as some people may think, especially when you compare him to Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger, two of the guys that were in his draft class. So he really hasn't been the most clutch quarterback around. And there's been a lot of times and big moments in the fourth quarter where he's kind of had that big interception, that big mistake that's cost the Chargers a game. There's been times, obviously, too, where he's kind of gotten screwed on field goal kicking, especially last year. But there's a lot of times where he hasn't been as clutch as you'd think he would be. And, Thursday night, it was just really amazing because he throws two early interceptions. Both of them were pretty bad throws, and both of them in the first half. And then he comes back in the second half, and to be able to, kind of rally the troops, so to speak, and score those two late touchdowns was pretty exceptional. Basically it was 28-14. The Chiefs had just scored to make it a 28-14 to make it a 14-point game once again. There was, I think maybe 8 minutes left when they scored, and the Chargers needed a few minutes to counter to make it 28-21. I think they scored just inside of 5 minutes. But anyways, the Chargers, they drive right down the field, got a couple of big plays. They score on a short touchdown. All of a sudden, it's 28-21. And the Chargers defense has really stepped it up in the second half. Pat Mahomes had two first-half touchdown passes, didn't have any in the second half. Still, completed a lot of passes, still had good yardage, but didn't have any touchdowns in the second half. Wasn't able to convert a couple of key third downs down the stretch. Chargers defense, they forced Kansas City to go 3-and-out right away, and really kind of a disastrous drive for the Chiefs because, they had a false start. They end up giving a sack, so they end up having to punt it away quickly. I think it was 3 plays, -5 yards. So the Chargers get right back, and they got it back with well over 2 minutes left. I think there was like 2:37 or something like that. And then once again, Philip Rivers, plenty of time to drive right down the field, try to tie the game. He takes them right down the field. Mike Williams, third touchdown in the game with 4 seconds left. Kind of good for the Chargers that they were able to score on that because a couple of plays earlier, Philip Rivers, he tried to scramble away from pressure, tried to slide feet first like quarterbacks typically do. It went down as a sack because it was a no gain. It was right at the line of scrimmage. And anyhow, Justin Houston got credited with the sack, but he actually hit him helmet to helmet. And that's obviously a big point of emphasis in the NFL to find that and obviously penalize that 15 yards. The refs missed it, and so obviously Philip Rivers was pretty infuriated by that. But nonetheless, a couple plays later, I think it was 2 plays later, Chargers were able to score Mike Williams, left corner of the end zone for the touchdown. But then the Chargers, Coach Anthony Lynn, they came to Kansas City to win. The LA Chargers, that came to Kansas City to win, even though they had all the momentum on their side at that point, and even though they saw firsthand that a 2-point conversion can burn you, because remember, I think that was week 7 when they played the Titans in London. Remember, the Titans scored with about 30, I think there's 31 seconds left. Titans scored to make it 20-19, and the Titans decided to go for 2 to take the lead. And there was good coverage. Marcus Mariota airmailed it out of the back of the end zone. And, of course, they couldn't get the onside kick, and the Chargers were able to hold on to win. That was right before their bye week. So it would have been so easy, with all those things being said, for the Chargers to just play for overtime. But, with extra points not being nearly as automatic as they used to be, even though Mike Badgley's done a real nice job lately, he has missed an extra point before, had missed a field goal recently against the Steelers. So even though he's done a great job this year, he's still not going to be automatic. You never know what could happen on those extra points. It could get blocked. And even beyond that, even if you make the extra point, more than likely, you're still going to go to overtime. And there's a possibility, just like what happened last weekend with the Cowboys and the Eagles, the Cowboys won the toss in overtime, and they held the ball for 8 minutes and ended up scoring a touchdown, so the Eagles never got to see it. So there's a possibility that could happen too. With the Chargers, especially the fact that the Chiefs are, an 80-yard touchdown waiting to happen on any given play. So anyhow, the Chargers, they decided to go for 2, which in my opinion was the right call, regardless of if they would have gotten it or not. But on the play, Kansas City's defense, they're not a very good defense, but they've played, for the most part, better recently. But then they obviously fell apart down the stretch. The last 5, 6, 7 minutes, after giving up 14 points, they give up 15 points in those last sequence of the game. But on the play, it was a great play design by the Chargers, but it was just as bad execution by the Chiefs, because you had Mike Williams, who, again, was the star of the game. He was lined up on the right side, inside in the slot, and bunched real close to him on the outside was Tyrell Williams. And basically the way the route went is Tyrell Williams cut inside, and Mike Williams ran to the outside towards the right corner of the end zone. And and actually, by the way, I apologize. Mike Williams' touchdown, the tying touchdown, I believe, was actually on the right side of the end zone as well. So it was the same spot. He had an earlier touchdown on the left side of the end zone. Anyways, at any rate, so the route is Tyrell runs left inside towards middle end zone. Mike Williams cuts to the outside. If you're the Chiefs, knowing what Mike Williams has done the entire game, you would think, logically speaking, you would maybe try to put at least one guy on him, if not 2. There's like 3 guys clustered in that area. They all go with Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams sucks the defense in. Mike Williams is wide open on the outside, and of course he catches a 2-point version to ultimately, because there was only 4 seconds left, win 29-28. Overall, the Chiefs, they played a terrific first half. They picked off Rivers on the opening drive, underthrown ball. Steven Nelson with a pick. Able to drive down the field pretty easily and effortlessly. Got a Charger punt. Then they scored another touchdown. Quickly, it's 14-0. And even when the Chargers finally respond, make it 14-7, Chiefs are able to score again, make it 20, or no, I'm sorry, it remained 14-7 for the rest of the half, because Rivers threw another bad interception in the end zone right before the half to keep it 14-7, and then both sides traded touchdowns to start the second half, make it 21-7, or no, make it 21-14, and then the Chiefs scored to make it 28-14 mid-fourth quarter. Screwed up my math here, but anyways, the point is, Chiefs were well in control of this game, but down the stretch, one of the big questions, they don't have a championship caliber defense. Now, of course, they have to play at Seattle next Sunday night, so you have to wonder now with the Chiefs, because Mahomes didn't play a bad game, but he was forced to run out of the pocket a lot, to make a lot of plays happen. They only rushed for 60 yards as a team, which was a concern about this team after, the whole debacle with Kareem Hunt, and then now, of course, Spencer Ware out of this game. So, just one of those things that Pat Mahomes lost 3 games now. They still have the tiebreaker over the Chargers for the division, but he's lost 3 games now. It's his 3 biggest games of the year. He's lost to Brady and the Patriots. He's lost to Jared Goff and the Rams, and now he's lost on his own home field to Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. First time the Chargers had beaten him in like 9 games. So, after throwing 4 touchdown passes against them week 1, Mahomes was kind of figured out in this game. Even though his final numbers were good and he played a fine game, still he couldn't get it done down the stretch. Got to give the Chargers defense a lot of credit. They can rush the passer, obviously something we've known. And even without Melvin Gordon, they still had a pretty decent running game. They had like 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, so not a bad game, especially compared to the Chiefs at 60 yards. And then Phillip Rivers, you got to give him a lot of credit, because he did come in clutch in this. He did lead the 2 big drives at the end of the game. They're not a lock, though, to win out, because, of course, they've got the Ravens next week, and then they finish off with the Broncos. So there's a possibility. I mean, they could legitimately get upset in either or both games. I think they'll win at least one of those games, if not win out. But nonetheless, Chargers are going to be a danger in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see what they do against that Baltimore defense, because that Baltimore defense, they've gotten challenged against some top-flight offenses, and we saw what happened last week against the Chiefs. Eventually, the Chiefs were able to figure them out. This game, of course, will be in L.A., Carson, California, technically. So it's going to be interesting, but I think that a lot of people in the media who thought that the Chargers were the better, more complete team, they definitely feel validated after this game. So it's going to be interesting going forward, especially in the playoffs, because even if the Chiefs get the home field advantage, we know that they're not invincible, especially in these big games, especially the fact that their defense is still not getting the job done, and they really don't have much of a running game, so that's not really a championship formula, whereas the Chargers have the things that you want to see out of a championship caliber team. But anyways, those are my thoughts on the Thursday night game that ended up being an instant classic with the Chargers and the Chiefs. So please go to sugarhuddle.com. Please like my Facebook page, The Sugar Huddle, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.